It is Sunday, the 17th of July, 2016. I'm in front of the Unitarian Church of Montreal, protesting against a variety of Unitarian Universalist injustices, abuses, and hypocrisy. But the emphasis today, and for the last little while, has been on the fact that the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations in Boston, which is, more or less the Vatican of the Unitarian Universalist religious community. It's the corporate headquarters, as it were, of Unitarian Universalism in North America, and also represents, some other international Unitarian Universalists in various countries around the world. They hired Stikeman Elliott Barristers and Solicitors litigation lawyer, Maitre Marc-Andre Coulombe, to falsely accuse me of the archaic criminal act of blasphemous libel in an effort to cover up and hide such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape committed by certain Unitarian Universalist ministers, to borrow two choice phrases from the two arrogant and aggressive cease and desist demand letters that Maitre Marc-Andre Coulombe of Stikeman Elliott Barristers and Solicitors had me served with in June of 2012. So this slogan on the sidewalk basically brings it to the attention of the public that the Unitarians, and that's obviously short for Unitarian Universalists, misuse Canada's blasphemy law to cover up and hide child sex abuse committed by Unitarian Universalist ministers. So we're just going to move along to the next slogan and fix the picket sign that fell down. So here we have a very short version. Unitarians cover up pedophilia and rape, and obviously referring to Unitarian Universalist pedophilia and rape. They actually screech quite loudly, some of them, about clergy sex abuse in the Roman Catholic Church. You see a certain number of Unitarian Universalists getting on a high horse and, strongly criticizing the Roman Catholic Church for its own clergy pedophilia and rape problems, while at the same time engaging in efforts that try to cover up and hide pedophilia and rape committed by Unitarian Universalist ministers. So that's pretty hypocritical in my books. And Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein, formerly of First Parish Norwell in Massachusetts, now with the Greater Lynn Unitarian Universalist Church in Swampscott, Massachusetts, is one of those Unitarian Universalist ministers who stridently points the finger at Roman Catholic clergy sex abuse. She's actually deeply implicated in the Unitarian Universalist Association's false blasphemous libel accusation against me, because the only Unitarian Universalist who I referred to as a pedophile rapist specifically was her own parishioner from First Parish Norwell, one Richard Buell, former parishioner of Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein's in her First Parish Norwell parish, was charged, tried, and convicted of raping preteen girls, including a female family member. And at around the time that this happened, Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein got on her Peace Bang blog and, basically stridently attacked the Roman Catholic Church for its own clergy sex abuse problems, indeed child sex abuse problems. And in fact, I didn't even know about Richard Buell at that point. I saw Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein's blog post stridently attacking the Roman Catholic Church for its, child sex abuse problems. Ministers, and I should say priests, in the case of the Catholic Church, priests molesting children. So I posted some comments in response to that blog post, reminding Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein that Unitarian Universalism had its own child sex abuse problems. I specifically mentioned Reverend Mac Wallace Mitchell, who was convicted of the forcible rape of teenage Tibetan refugees who he had lured away from refugee camps in India with promises of a better life in America. And good day, sir. So you know, the Reverend Mac Wallace Mitchell case was mentioned in my comments on Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein's Peace Bang blog, and I suggested, you know, you might want to deal responsibly with Unitarian Universalism's clergy sex abuse problem before stridently attacking the Catholics. And of course she deleted all of my comments about Reverend Mac Mitchell, and because Reverend Victoria Weinstein had actually behaved quite badly on the internet previously and was actually blogging under a pseudonym, she was basically, her blog was Peace Bang, and Peace Bang was kind of a nickname for her, and her actual identity wasn't known. I did not know her identity. It was just Peace Bang, and there was, you know, some minor clues as to who she might be in the description of the blog. She claimed to be the pastor of a small town Unitarian, historic small town Unitarian church in, New England. So that narrowed the scope, assuming she was telling the truth. Anyway, it was really as a result of her, covering up and hiding the Reverend Mac Mitchell rape case by deleting my comments on her blog that I decided to try and find out who she was and basically connect her real identity with her Peace Bang blog, so people knew which, New England Unitarian Universalist minister was responsible for these things. So as it was, I had a clue that her first name was Victoria based on a comment that somebody had left in which they addressed her as Victoria. So it seemed, someone who knew her had addressed her as Victoria in a comment. And so I ran a search on Reverend Victoria, Unitarian, and came up with a few results. There's not just one Unitarian Universalist minister with the first name of Victoria. I think there was 2 or 3. But there was this Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein in Massachusetts. So I thought, well, let's look a little further into that. So I went to the website of First Parish Norwell to see if there are any further clues, linking Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein to the Peace Bang blog. And there wasn't really anything that connected Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein to the Peace Bang blog itself. But interestingly enough, there was a recent notice in the church newsletter which spoke about how a congregant by the name of Richard Buell had recently been convicted of a crime, and how Reverend Deborah Pope Lance would be holding a special meeting with church members to help them, deal with this situation. So it was kind of interesting how, here was a notice about someone being convicted of a crime, and Reverend Deborah Pope Lance, who normally deals with clergy sexual misconduct problems, presiding over a meeting with the parishioners to deal with this, the fallout of this conviction. So, I had no idea who Richard Buell was at that time. I had no idea what his crime was. But I ran a search on Richard Buell and Norwell, and quickly found that one Richard Buell of Norwell had been charged, tried, and convicted of the forcible rape of preteen girls. Girls who were no older than 12 years old at the time that the rapes took place, and who might have been as young as 6, according to some estimates, as it were, but certainly somewhere between 9 and 12. So I wasn't absolutely 100% sure that Victoria Weinstein was peace-bang and vice versa, but what I did know is that Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein, had a bit of a problem. She had a pedophile rapist in her church, and the man had been charged, tried, and convicted. And I thought, it would be quite hypocritical if it was actually, if Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein and peace-bang were one and the same person. On the one hand, Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein has a parishioner charged, tried, and convicted of extreme child sex abuse, pedophilia, and rape, forcible rape. And on the other hand, she's on her blog stridently attacking the Roman Catholic Church for, in the case of the blog post, it was a case of fondling. It wasn't even the worst case of Roman Catholic sex abuse. But nonetheless, she was stridently attacking the Roman Catholic Church, and at the same time covering up and hiding Unitarian Universalist clergy sex abuse, such as that committed by Reverend Mac Mitchell. So what I did is I went back to the peace-bang blog, and I left a message saying, you might want to talk to your colleague, Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein, about, the problem she's got going in her church. I can't remember the exact words, but I specifically said your colleague, Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein, because I wasn't certain that Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein and peace-bang were one and the same person. Well, what happened? Within minutes, and I really do mean within minutes, not more than 15 or 20 minutes, and possibly as little as 5, after I posted that comment, I received an email in my email inbox from Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein. And in it, she said, I don't talk about my parishioners' problems, blah, 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 and expect you not to either. So she was essentially admitting, that yes, peace-bang and Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein are one and the same person. And she's essentially telling me to shut up about the fact that her parishioner, Richard Buell, had been convicted of pedophilia and rape. So, here's this Unitarian Universalist minister, on the one hand, stridently attacking the Roman Catholic Church over comparatively minor child sex abuse. Not that there isn't worse child sex abuse in the Roman Catholic Church, but, the case that peace-bang was making a big issue of was actually fairly minor. Fondling by a priest, or alleged fondling. It wasn't even a case where it had been actually determined to be true or not. And at the same time, she's doing her best to keep hidden the fact that one of her parishioners was guilty of the forcible rape of preteen children. So I decided, well, that's that with peace-bang, and I outed her. I outed Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein as peace-bang and vice versa. And subsequently, I filed a clergy misconduct complaint against Reverend Dr. Victoria Weinstein, not only for the issues surrounding... Oh, here he goes. So, we got one of the leaders of the church, or possibly the church custodian, erasing the slogan which said, Unitarian Universalists cover up and deny child sex abuse, if I remember correctly. So this person is actually engaging in cover-up of child sex abuse committed by Unitarian Universalist ministers, Unitarian Universalist Sunday school teachers, and ordinary Unitarian Universalists. I'm going to come over here because he's no doubt going to try and erase the slogans here. What can you say? What you can say is that you are right now actively trying to hide the fact that Unitarian Universalists misuse blasphemy law to cover up pedophilia and rape, sir. That's what you're doing. And in doing so, you are covering up and hiding the fact that Unitarian Universalists have a bit of a clergy sex abuse problem. So you, sir, are part of the problem, not part of the solution. You are a knowing and willful participant in Unitarian Universalist cover-up and denial of such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape committed by certain Unitarian Universalist ministers, such as Reverend Mac Wallace Mitchell, and certain Unitarian Universalist Sunday school teachers, such as Stephen Craig Bullitt, sir. So I hope you're proud of yourself in participating in cover-up and denial of pedophilia and rape, sir. Well, I'm not sure who this guy is. This is not the first time he's come out and erased my chalk slogans. I noticed that he either didn't see one or decided he wasn't going to do any more. But this man, whether he realizes it or not, is totally 100% complicit in Unitarian Universalist cover-up and denial of such despicable crimes as pedophilia and rape committed by Unitarian Universalist ministers. He erased my chalk slogans, which protest against the fact that the Unitarian Universalist Association falsely accused me of the crime of blasphemous libel in an effort to intimidate me into removing blog posts that tell the truth about Unitarian Universalist ministers and Unitarian Universalist lay leaders who were